Parents, what lessons have to try to teach your kids that completely backfired? One of my 5-year-old twins was still having occasional accidents because she would get so caught up in playing or coloring or building something with her blocks that she just wouldn't stop and go to the bathroom. It wasn't a training issue. She knew how, she just wouldn't pause long enough to do it. She'd be playing in the living room or outside, so engrossed in her own world that by the time she noticed the urge, it was too late. Then she'd come to me quietly, eyes big and wet, whispering, "I had an accident," with so much shame in her little voice it broke my heart. We tried everything at first. Gentle reminders, bathroom breaks built into our routine, a sticker chart. Nothing seemed to stick for more than a day or two. She wasn't being defiant, she was just 5, and 5-year-olds are still learning how to be in charge of their bodies. Eventually, in a last-ditch attempt to make progress without turning it into a battle, we came up with the idea of giving her a small reward on days she didn't have an accident. Not every time, and not anything extravagant. A lollipop, a small toy from the prize jar, or extra screen time. More than anything, it was about the recognition, a "you did it" moment. And to our relief, it worked. She stayed dry several days in a row. She was proud of herself. She'd run to me at bedtime, almost bouncing. "No accidents today," and beam when I gave her a prize or a high five. I felt like we were finally moving in the right direction. But then her twin sister started having accidents. At first, I didn't think much of it. Accidents happen, but she'd been reliably dry for over a year. Then she had another one the next day, and another the day after that. And unlike her sister, she didn't seem upset about them. She'd just announce it matter-of-factly, like it was part of the routine. "I peed," she'd say, then go back to playing. That's when I started noticing how carefully she was watching her sister get her rewards, watching the smiles, the celebration, the attention. It took me longer than I'd like to admit to connect the dots. But one night after bath time, while I was brushing her hair, she said casually, "If I pee and then don't pee, do I get a prize too?" And my heart just sank. We'd accidentally taught her that the way to get recognition, the fun little prizes, the extra cuddles, the clapping, was to have an accident first. In her 5-year-old logic, that's how it worked. Her sister peed her pants, then stopped peeing her pants, and then she got prizes. We had created a system that, without meaning to, rewarded something that should have just been part of everyday life. And worse, we'd created an uneven kind of attention. One child being celebrated for doing something the other had quietly mastered long ago. That night, my husband and I sat down and talked it through. We decided, gently but firmly, to stop the rewards. Not as punishment, just a shift. We wanted to reframe the conversation, to move away from earning things and toward feeling good about taking care of themselves. The next day, we told them both that we weren't doing prizes anymore. That being dry wasn't about toys or candy. It was about listening to your body and being proud of yourself, even when no one claps. They didn't throw tantrums. They seemed to understand more than I expected. We kept praising their effort, but more quietly. We gave hugs instead of stickers. We focused on connection, not correction. Over the next couple of weeks, the accidents stopped. Not perfectly, not instantly, but they faded. More importantly, the weird tension between them disappeared. They started cheering each other on, not competing. What I learned is that kids don't just absorb our lessons. They absorb our attention, our tone, what we celebrate. And sometimes the backfire isn't about misbehavior. It's about being seen,